Welcome to episode 4 of Paranormal Chat with Jen and Violet. Tonight, we will have our special guest, Cyndi Vojvoda with Hunters of the Unknown. Please welcome Cyndi to the show.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
Welcome, welcome. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good.
And here's Violet this evening. How are you doing?
I'm all right. How about you?
I'm here. I'm making it. All right. So Cyndi, welcome, welcome. We'll just get down to the nitty gritty and just tell us about yourself, about your team.
Sure. So I'm Cyndi. I am the founder of Hunters of the Unknown. We're a paranormal travel adventure group. We investigate basically anything paranormal. We do hauntings, cryptids like Bigfoot, UFO sightings, historical mysteries, legends, anything paranormal.
Fabulous. So at what age did you know the paranormal existed?
I've always believed in it. I mean, I've always been interested in this. So I kind of don't think that there was ever a time that I really didn't believe in it. I mean, I'm definitely skeptical sometimes. You know, I'm a little bit of both, I'd say, but I've kind of been a paranormal lover my whole life.
Fabulous. Can you tell us what that defining moment was when you really knew that it was out there?
Yeah, I would say, you know, I've had many experiences investigating and doing our adventures, but there was one time, I guess, that it kind of really hit home. We were investigating at Thornhaven Manor, which is in Indiana, and the group of us, we were sitting at the bottom of the staircase on the first floor. We were all sitting in chairs, and we were doing an EVP session. We heard, first off, there was two things that happened. The first thing that happened was we heard with our own ears, we heard a woman say help, which was very clear. It was really cool. But the most interesting thing that happened there was we had a flashlight. It was just sitting on the stairs, not doing anything. It was just sitting there. It came on, it turned on, and then we saw this white mist form in front of us. Wow. And what made it really interesting too was, had the flashlight not come on, we would have never seen it. So that kind of, you know, makes you think, you know, maybe you should have some kind of ambient light on during an investigation, because you could be missing things sitting in the dark. But we did have a camcorder on us during that time. The mist did not show up on the video. You can only unfortunately just see us, you know, kind of freaking out, like, you know, like pointing and saying, what in the world was that? But it was really neat. It just kind of formed and then it just disappeared.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Yeah. Myself, I have not gotten to Thornhaven Manor yet.
It's a good place.
That is on my...
a couple times. Yeah. Would recommend.
I have some. Go ahead.
I just said I would recommend it. It's a good place to investigate. And the owner's very nice as well.
Yeah, he had some health issues, so I'm not sure when they're going to be doing investigations again. So I've been trying to get a hold of them. So
I've heard that from many people, actually. We were thinking about going back this year too, but I'm kind of hearing that, you know, that might not happen.
Yeah, I understand that one. So what made you decide to start your own team?
Well, it really kind of started with my son. I have twins, a boy and a girl. And my son was always very interested in the paranormal. We would always watch like Paranormal State together, you know, back then. He'll be 20 this year. So this was, you know, quite a while ago. He was probably like 13, 14. He was quite young. My daughter wants nothing to do with it. But, you know, my son was very interested in it. And then that's kind of when all of the ghost shows started coming out on TV, you know, like Ghost Hunters and stuff. And then you realize, oh, you know, maybe, you know, we can actually do this. And part of it was because he was so young, a lot of places would only let him go with if both his parents were there.
Right.
So we did start, me, my husband, and my son is what we started with. We now are a team of 7, and that is kind of why I started, was so he was be able to go with us on investigations. And now he's still part of the group, and he'll be 20 this year. So,
wow.
Yeah, well, we've been doing this for a while.
That's fabulous. I know a lot of times you have to be 18 to get in. And
right. It just depended on the place, but we had a lot of luck if I would ask. If I would ask, you know, both his parents are going to be there.
Right.
Is it okay if he comes? And usually, you know, a lot of places would be okay with that. I know there was one, we went to Bobby Mackey's, and that was at 18 or over, and he wasn't able to go to that one with us. Was it 18 or 21? I don't know. I know he was too young to go with us to that one.
Yeah, I get that a lot too. And they've actually made exceptions for my oldest as well.
Mm-hmm.
Some places have. And they're like, well, you're the mom. You have your team. We know you. So you're fine to come.
Right.
But some places are good about it and others aren't. I can understand that myself.
Right.
We went on a private investigation a few years ago. And my daughter, that's now 10, actually went with us. And
Mm-hmm.
she was more mature than the adult that was there. And it was funny.
Yep.
Because the homeowner said, your daughter is so mature for her age. I was like, well, thanks. So my next question for you is, let me get to it. Out of all the places you've been, what is your favorite place?
Oh, as far as investigating, or as far as like traveling? Because I have done a lot of travel as well.
Let's do both. Let's start with traveling.
Let's do both. Okay, traveling. Yeah, I have been, you know, quite the traveler. My actual favorite place so far is here in the United States is Sedona, Arizona. It's just beautiful. The Red Rock Mountains there. You know, it's just a beautiful place. Sedona also has the vortexes. And I've been there, you know, quite a few times. The first time I went there, though, I remember you can just feel the energy of the place. That would be, you know, my favorite place, I think, right now. I do have a neat story about when I went to Guatemala, though. It's not quite paranormal, but it's pretty cool. We did take a trip to Guatemala. We took a tour with like these local guides, and they took us like down a river on a boat. Guatemala is beautiful, beautiful place. It has like these, you know, like thick jungles that are like mountains. And it's like straight out of National Geographic. You know, you could see the ladies in their huts on the side of the river, washing their clothes in the river. It was really neat. But they took us to this place where, you know, not a lot of people go. You know, tourists don't really go there. It wasn't a big tourist area neither. They took us to this place. We got off the boat. We did a short hike and went to this cave. And we went, you know, into the cave. And then they shined the light on the ceiling of the cave. And it was this huge rib cage of a dinosaur in the ceiling. It was like, whoa, you know, like, wow, this is really here. And, you know, I don't think a lot of people knew that it was there because it hadn't been like really explored or anything. But it was really cool, just like a huge rib cage of a dinosaur. But, you know, that was one of my cool adventures, I guess, outside of the United States.
That'd be fabulous. I'd like to see something like that.
Yeah.
And what is your favorite place that you've investigated?
My favorite investigation that we've done was our Tikaboo Peak adventure, actually, which is out by Area 51.
Okay.
Tikaboo Peak, it is the last public place that you can actually see the base. You could actually see Area 51 from there. Getting there was very, very difficult. It's quite a journey. This was like an all-day event. We had to rent a 4x4 vehicle. and we took it out in the desert down this dirt road, 4x4 road, 20-something miles into the desert. I mean, you are so far in the middle of nowhere, you know, and you see like nobody. After you go down this road for 20-something miles, you get to the base of the mountain, which is Tikaboo Peak, and you have to climb up the mountain. That was very, very difficult. The side of the mountain's kind of like loose shale rock. So that made it very difficult to climb. Plus the elevation too. You know, we're from Chicago. So we were so out of breath because we weren't used to, you know, the elevation of the mountain there. Yeah, the air. But, you know, it's very beautiful out there, very dangerous too, I would say, though. Besides the fact that you're right next to a military base, because you're out in the middle of nowhere, you don't know what kind of animals you're going to run into. There's no cell service. You're kind of screwed if something were to happen to you. But I had some GPS coordinates, and that's what we used to find the place, which wasn't easy because you kept thinking, are we going the right way? You know, you weren't really sure. But once we got to the top, you could see the base is situated in a valley, which is surrounded by mountains. And you could see a runway, you know, you can see some roads, you know, maybe a couple buildings. It was very cool. That was one of my favorite things that we've done because it was, you know, just quite the adventure in getting there was very difficult. I don't think not too many people do that. We didn't see anything while we were there. We didn't see any UFOs. I was joking while we were there that, you know, maybe they had the day off or something because it was really kind of quiet.
Were there any planes going in and out or anything like that?
Nothing. Yeah. And we've actually been out there 3 times. The first time we went, there were jets, you know, like the supersonic jets or whatever, you know, flying overhead and stuff. This time there was nothing.
Really?
Yeah, nothing. It was like dead silent, which was
kind of on vacation.
Yeah, that's what I think. It was closed that day. I don't know.
Yeah, they were napping. They took a break.
But you could see too on like other tops of other mountains and kind of along the road, you could see these, I don't know, devices or whatever, where you know that they know that you're there. You know, I bet they're watching you, they're listening to you, they know you're there. So I have no doubt they knew that we did that.
Now I've seen it on TV and on videos that it's always surrounded by a fence, that it looks like there's boxes and not necessarily tripwires, but as you said, they would know you're there, like video surveillance, something to alert them. Did you see all that as well?
We just seen like these devices that were, you know, in the middle of the desert. So that's probably what it was probably, you know, something from the base that, you know, was like surveillance for them, I bet, to kind of see what's in the area.
I know it's just amazing how secretive it is out there. It really makes your mind wonder what they're not necessarily up to, but at the same time, it's like, it's the government. So what are they hiding? What don't they want us to know? Yeah. And then you hear all these stories of scientists coming out saying, oh, they used to be in the Air Force, or they were a physicist there, or a doctor there, and they worked with these aircraft, and they worked with, what do they call it? Reverse propulsion or something like that.
Reverse technology.
Yeah.
If you were to find like some alien technology, they're trying to reverse it so that they can use it themselves. Yeah. Right.
It really just makes you wonder what they're up to, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Like, what are they being sneaky about today? We've discussed where you did. Other than Mexico, we'll discuss that in a little bit, but other than that, have you investigated in any other countries?
Only Mexico was the actual investigating that we've done. Yeah. Okay.
All righty. Where is your dream investigation? I saw that your dream job is to work with Josh Gates on Destination Truth.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he'll watch this and he'll invite you to come. Is there a location that he has been that fascinates you more than another? But let's start with, where is your dream investigation? Where would you like to go? Or what locations, 1, 2, 3, 4, would you like to go?
My dream investigation is to investigate the haunted castles in Ireland.
Oh, wow.
Actually, we keep meaning to go. Every year we're saying, this is the year we're going to go. So we will get there, maybe next year. Right now, we're thinking maybe next year. So that is what I want to do. Fly to Ireland, you know, just take a road trip to the different haunted castles. And you can stay in a lot of those castles too in Ireland and just kind of check those out. So that's definitely on the top of my list. As far as Destination Truth, there have been, I'd say I have my top 3 places that I would love to investigate that they've been to. One is the Hoiu Baciu Forest in Romania. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's Ghost Adventures has been there as well. You know, it's just like a haunted forest. All kinds of stuff seems to happen there. You know, UFO sightings, all the light. You know,
I've always wanted to go to Romania.
Yeah, and well, yeah, it's Romania, so that sounds really cool right there too. Of course, there's Dracula's castle in Romania. You'd have to see if you went there.
I'm really interested in the gypsy culture myself.
Mm-hmm.
The Romanian gypsies. That's why I want to visit. But go ahead.
So that is one. Antarctica. When they went and investigated the McMurdo station, the abandoned station out in Antarctica. I don't know if I'll really ever make it to that one because that's pretty, you know, far flung, pretty hard, very hard to get to. But that was really cool episodes. Those are the kind of the ones I like. Those really out of the way, you know, hard to get to places. Island of the Dolls in Mexico was another really cool one. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yep.
Island of the Dolls. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty exciting one to go to as well.
As long as you're not afraid of spiders, I think you'll be okay. I think my favorite Destination Truth episode was when they went to Pompeii. That is on my bucket list. Just go to Italy and then go to see Pompeii. And I would love to investigate there myself. So I think that was my favorite Destination Truth episode. Maybe he'll take us both on one.
Oh, that would be great. Great. That's kind of what I try to kind of base our group off of too, you know, that we, you know, like to investigate, you know, these faraway places. And sometimes it's just an adventure getting to the place to be able to investigate stuff like that.
How about you, Violet? Where would you like to go, Ben? Is there anywhere you'd like to go?
If we're talking about places that are kind of off the grid and hard to get to and all that, there's always Easter Island.
Oh, yes. Definitely on the bucket list for sure.
Yes, because, I mean, not only is it out in the middle of the like South Pacific, but there's only 2 ways you can get there. You can either get there by charter plane from Chile, or you can go from I think they have a cruise that goes out of Chile as well, and it takes 6 days by boat. Yeah. So and when you get to the island, there's really not much civilization there, but there's all those heads, and there's I don't know, it's just a magical place. Like,
yeah, I
there
totally would go with you.
In the middle of nowhere, and you know,
I like your shirt, by the way. Oh, is she there? I know her phone fell over. So when there she is.
There we go.
You can continue.
Yeah, it's just, again, imagine, I just can't imagine how there is a civilization that one, you know, they're like way stark out in the middle of nowhere. And of course, people sailing by often, but it would just be a crapshoot for them to get out there because it's just so isolated.
Sure is. All righty. Now I know we just discussed you're really into a lot of different things. I know you investigate cryptids as well as ghosts. Have you ever seen a UFO? And I know you said you hadn't out in Arizona. A UFO, black-eyed children, anything that's not a spirit or a cryptid?
No black-eyed children, and I think I'm kind of okay with that. I'll pass on the black-eyed children. They're a little.
I think I will too.
But UFO, yes, I have seen a UFO, and I'm kind of excited to talk about this one because it was pretty recent, just back in October. Me and my husband were on Mackinac Island for actually a paranormal event. There was a meteor shower that night. And so, it's like after midnight, in the middle of the night, and we decide, we're going to go out and see if we can see any meteors. So we go out to look at the sky, and my husband looks at me and he goes, do you see that? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, I've been watching it for a while. And what's really interesting about this too is it wasn't like a silver disc UFO. It wasn't like your typical UFO you would see. And what it looked like was, it's so hard to describe as well. It was kind of like this oranges kind of organic thing, I guess you could say, because it's not like it was round or it wasn't any particular shape, but it was massive. It was just huge. And you could see it start at one end of the sky, and it would slowly go to the middle of the sky and all the way off onto the other end of the sky. I don't know what it was. It was definitely unidentified for sure. My husband thinks it was a Thunderbird, like a pterodactyl, which there are sightings of those up there.
Right.
But what I saw was just kind of this orange kind of blob-like thing, I guess, kind of light. It wasn't a certain shape. It just kind of moved, kind of organically. It was so bizarre. I know the Northern Lights are up there. It was not the Northern Lights. My parents have lived in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan for a while. They lived there. And so I know what the Northern Lights look like, and it wasn't at the horizon. It was in the middle of the sky, and it moved from one end of the sky to the other. So I don't know what that was, but it was pretty cool looking.
I know you talked about Thunderbirds, and I wanted to just throw that out there, that Thunderbirds have been seen in central Illinois too.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if you knew that or not.
I did, by Lake Shelbyville. Actually, I think there was a story of a little boy that supposedly got picked up by one.
Oh, I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah, Lake Shelbyville. Maybe look that up. I think a boy, this was way back when too, a boy I think got picked up by a Thunderbird. I don't know if he carried him for a little while and then dropped him, but I think he was okay. But yeah, I've heard that story before.
I hadn't heard that one. I heard, it's been a year or two ago that a woman was outside and had looked up in the sky and had seen one. And I think maybe there was a video of it. There's a couple videos floating around, but I know it was a lady that had seen one and up in the sky just flying around. But you were talking about UFOs. Have you been to Revenant Acres here in Indiana yet?
I've heard of it, but no, we've never been there. You should check that one out to investigate as well. I can tell you a little bit about that here in a little while, but that's where I saw my only UFO. Oh.
It actually came over the house, and it was like a big, huge orb and disappeared right above the forest. Mm-hmm. Or woods, not a forest.
An orb like a light? Or
yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just huge, and it was quiet, so I know it wasn't a plane.
Yeah, like what I saw, there was no noise neither. It was quiet, but it was massive. It was just huge. You couldn't even imagine how big this thing was.
Yeah, this was good size, and it's the acreage is there that the house sits on, and there's a barn and a yard, and cornfields and soybean fields surround it. And then on the other side of the cornfield is a house within the woods. And as soon as it got to that woods, it disappeared.
Was it a color?
It was just a big white orb.
Okay.
And Violet, you've seen some in California if you want to. Did you see anything similar to that, what she's seen?
Yeah, it was, I don't know how to explain it. It was very bright colored, like metallic, but it was like a round ball, and it just floated in the sky. There's two of them, and then there was one, and it stayed around for a while. From a distance, almost golden, but when you zoom in with the camera, it looked almost like silvery, but it was very shiny, and then it went away after a few minutes. It just hovered over the sky. It was probably, 7:45, almost 8 o'clock. We were going through commuter traffic in Southern California, so I mean, the people probably saw it.
I know that was in California, right? You said
yeah,
that,
it was
right?
in the desert, which is quite a popular place to see that sort of thing, especially where we were coming from, Joshua Tree.
Dante always talks about he's surprised when I said I hadn't seen a UFO. He seemed surprised, but he said every time you go out there, you guys went to the Joshua Tree Forest, you saw one. And I think I believe he said he saw one come out of the ocean when he was driving along the highway. Have you seen one come out of the ocean?
No.
Wow. California, Nevada, Arizona. I guess it's a
hot spot.
Yep.
I totally believe though that like especially out there in the desert, in the cave systems, I feel like they're out there too, hidden.
The cave system. Yeah, that sounds a lot like the Kentucky Goblin story, actually.
I mean, because there's tons of abandoned mine shafts and natural cave systems where they could easily conceal their vessels or themselves.
It's amazing. We really truly don't know what's out there. We really don't. It's hard to say what's in our own backyard at night. But I was going to tell you about Revenant Acres real quick, since we hit on that before I forget again. If you go to revenantacres.com, they have videos, and one of the videos is of a man that got possessed there. And this spirit only possesses men. And you can see him drool. His facial features change, and he just falls over and hits the floor just like hard, just like smack. And it's not faked. You can tell it's not faked. And he wakes up and he's like, what happened? And I believe they said he left right after that. And there's a spirit there that calls themselves Seven. And when we were doing an EVP session, and it didn't hit me that night, I said, we were using a K2, and I said, if I count, can you tell me your age? And it didn't light up till I got to, are you 7? And it didn't register that night. I was like, oh, so you're 7 years old.
Right.
And I actually asked, are you 7? And it lit up. And it was in the room this person is supposed to stay in. It's supposed to be a man. Oh. But it's well worth going to if you ever can make it over here.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of it, but yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out for sure.
Definitely do. It's just east of Indy. And I'm trying to think, it's a real small town.
That's where a lot of places are, just east of Indy.
There's tons of places down around there. But yeah, go to revenantacres.com, check out their photos, check out the videos they have. The people that run it are really nice. We're actually going back in, I think, October, September, somewhere in there. And it's not expensive at all to go. And they have a fire pit, and you can stay overnight. You can camp there. Nice. The only bad thing is they don't have indoor plumbing. You have to drive down the road to the to go to the bathroom.
We have a motor home that we use for our group. So we got our own bathroom. And that's kind of why we did that, you know, for places like that. You know, we have our own bathroom and our own place to sleep. You know, some people don't like to sleep in the building that we go to. So we have some people sleeping in the building and some people sleeping in the motorhome. So it's convenient.
Yeah, I saw that and I forgot until you mentioned that, but I like that idea.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, we were talking about it for years. We actually had a smaller one before this one we have now. And yeah, it's worked out very well, you know, to haul all our equipment, you know, too, and everybody can kind of ride in one location too. Yeah, so it's
I think when I get rich, I'll buy us one and we can travel the world and travel the US.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh, that's such a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Violet?
Yeah.
Make a mental note. When we get rich, we'll get one.
Yeah, you've got a generator too, so you have electricity to plug all your equipment in if the building does not.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a mobile command center, really.
That is absolutely fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've kind of got an odd question. We've asked our other guests this. It was a Violet question from the first kind of goes along with what she asked on the first episode. Do you think some of the evidence is fake that is on TV and that, how did I word that? And that on some shows, on some team shows, do you think any of the evidence is faked?
I'm not going to say they're faked, but I will say some shows exaggerate their evidence, make it seem like evidence when it's really not. I do all our video editing for the group. I put together the videos that are on our website. So doing the editing, I can totally see how you can make something be something that it's not. And, you know, I think a lot of the shows too, you know, just overly exaggerate what's going on at the time too, to make it more exciting. I mean, it is a TV show. Otherwise it would be boring and nobody would watch. So
I agree with that. I know when we had Evelyn and Marianne on from Wipers, we were talking about that. And I think I told them, I said, it seems that they're turning more towards the demonic anymore.
It's more interesting, I guess, you know?
Yeah, that's what's going to sell.
Right. Right.
You know?
And it is a TV show. So, you know, I get it. I get why they're doing that.
Yep. I mean, do you want to sit there and be like, oh, look, it's Casper the ghost, or, oh, look, this is going to possess me? And people like to get scared, so.
They like to get scared because they're not there experiencing it. They're watching it from the safety of their home.
Yeah. Violet, what do you think about this?
It just, it is, you know, what she said, it's easy to mistake things. That's why you have to be really thorough. Their evidence review. When in doubt, you know, debunk it, because, you know, if you think there's a chance that could be, then it, you know, you never know for sure. But yeah, a lot of the shows, they have to keep it spicy, or like she said, nobody's gonna watch.
Yep.
Which is kind of a shame, but that's how the world works.
Yeah.
As I said, I had looked through your website. I saw a lot of things on there. I saw that you've been investigating quite a while. I see that you're going to Elkhorn, Wisconsin in February.
Yes.
Have you met Linda Godfrey before?
I have met her at a paranormal conference. So we did chat a little bit about the, you know, the Beast of Bray Road and such. So I have met her.
And then my second question is, what do you believe the Beast of Bray Road is?
I know most people classify it as a werewolf, you know, type creature. This kind of goes along with all cryptids, including Bigfoot. My theory on that is I think they're interdimensional creatures. I think they come from a different dimension. and there might be a specific time or, you know, a certain place, you know, where there's a lot of sightings where maybe a door opens, a portal opens or something, and, you know, they come over to our world for a while and then, you know, they disappear. They go back to wherever they came from. So that's kind of my theory on all cryptids, all of them. I think they're from some other place, really.
Hold on a second. Have you seen the new picture that has been floating around Facebook in these pages that was taken out in Wisconsin, supposedly last week, or supposed to be a dog man on Bray Road standing up? Have you seen that?
I don't think I have. No. Is it not a great picture?
Oh, I will send this to you. I can't help but laugh.
Yeah.
Because
one of those.
You can tell it's a dog. It's not a dog man.
Oh, it's literally a dog.
It's a dog. And I'm very frustrated and irritated that somebody actually said, this is the Beast of Bray Road. The founder of the NADP, the North American Dog Project, he actually took the picture, and the forearms, where if it was a dog man, it would have claws and hands like a raccoon. It's deteriorated. And he said this was like a mole, and somebody has set it beside the road and took a picture of it. It's a dog. I think it looks like an Akita with its, you know, Akitas have big fluffy tails that curl. And you can see the tail is curled in the back. The forearms or the front paws or legs, it looks like the bones are showing through. So it's really old. And he analyzed it and put all these, this is the teeth, this is not a dog man. And you can tell it's probably stands maybe like 4 feet tall. And dogmen are
kind of short for a dog.
That's what I thought. And first I said, no, this is either photoshopped in or it's a dog. And then here comes Joey, and he like analyzed it, and I was like, yep, it's definitely not a dog man. Violet, did you see that? I don't know if I tagged you or posted it anywhere that you would have seen it. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. I will tag you, and I will send that picture to you, Cyndi.
You do that.
It's just something else.
See it.
Oh, it's something. Oh, but you were talking about, you think cryptids are interdimensional creatures. I know that's one theory out there, and a lot of people who have seen them said there's like a purple haze or a mist, and they disappear into that, or they come out of it.
I've heard that.
Or before they appear, there's like floating balls of light, not necessarily orbs, but it's balls of light. Mm-hmm. What do you think about all that?
I mean, that kind of falls right into my theory about that, you know, maybe that's like the doorway opening, or, you know, that's the energy or something transferring from one dimension to another. I think that totally makes sense.
And there's also another theory that's one that some are interdimensional. And then I investigate dogmen more than anything else, besides ghosts, of course, and things like that. But I kind of know more about that than the Sasquatch.
I don't know. I think she froze up there.
Uh-oh.
She froze for you? She's frozen on the screen.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
The dog man got her. Oh, no.
It's always something. Every week we have some sort of issue. It's wonderful.
Well, we were doing pretty good there for a while.
That was very, very weird.
I know. I said the dog man must have got you.
It could have, because we have them around here. But that's, yeah, see what I get for talking about the government earlier? They're after me now. And look, it's 9 o'clock, it's 9:10. And remember what happened last week? We had issues getting on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it
right
must be something around 9 o'clock.
Huh.
So I was talking about, where was I at? Oh, the interdimensional, and then the balls and orbs of light. And then there's a theory that they're also dogmen or alien. Have you heard that theory?
I've heard that.
What do you think about that theory?
I mean, alien, they're not from this planet, yes, but not alien from outer space. I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
I know, have you heard of the fatheads? That are fatheads?
Like a creature?
They're a dog man, but it's different than, I guess, the everyday dog man. Their heads are bigger, they're absolutely huge, and then their bodies are bigger, and they are supposed to go out and hunt and kill Sasquatch and dogmen. And if they're in the area, the Sasquatch and dogmen work together.
So
and they're supposed to have a rider.
No.
A rider or a
own creature.
Yeah.
Huh.
And they're supposed to have a rider sit on their shoulder that controls them. And they're supposed to be an alien. There's a video by Scott Carpenter that shows one. I haven't seen it myself.
Fat men,
but
called?
Fat heads.
Fat heads. Oh, fat heads. Well, even so, fat heads, they couldn't come up with a better name than that.
They just call them that because their heads are so big.
I guess so. I've never heard of that. And that's kind of unusual.
Yeah,
that
me
I
neither.
heard of something like that. Wow.
Well, I was like, what is a fat head? So just passing the information along. But there is a video out there by Scott Carpenter if you want to check it out. It's on YouTube.
I'm going to write that down and check that out.
Yeah.
That head, not that man.
Yeah. And Scott Carpenter.
Okay.
Yeah. They're interesting. My son's seen them, and
oh yeah,
I've heard them. Not fat heads, but just dogmen.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure about that one, but
So they go after Sasquatch and dogmen. Have they ever been reported going after people?
not that I'm aware of. But then again, sometimes they all attack people.
Yeah,
It's
there's a hierarchy that sounds like they're at the top of the food chain right there.
Yeah. Yeah, they supposedly hunt the dogmen and Sasquatch. That's the theory for the fatheads.
But name.
Yeah, somebody needs to change that name like now.
But you'll never forget it.
It's true.
And if somebody says, hey, they're talking about fatheads, you can say, I know what that is.
Yep.
Until tonight, when I researched this, I had never heard of the Kentucky Goblins. Had you heard of those, Violet?
No.
Oh, are you there?
No, I've never heard of a Kentucky Goblin.
Well, Cyndi has investigated them. I know the location isn't allowed to be known, but what can you tell us about them? I researched it a little bit.
Okay. I mean, yeah, let me tell you the backstory of that, and then I can tell you why we went to where we did, too. Yeah, the Kentucky Goblins, I guess it's not one of the most, well-known, I guess they're, I don't know if they're considered alien creatures, I guess you could say. So the story all took place in 1955 in Kelly, Kentucky, which was a really small town. It's by Hopkinsville. And there was this farm there, the Sutton family farm. They were having a gathering, there was like 11 people, some kids there. And one of the men went outside to go get a drink from the well, and he saw in the sky like a round metallic object in the sky, okay, which was probably a UFO. So he sees this and he's like, whoa, what is that? He goes back in, you know, and tells them what he saw. Oh, they think he's just joking, you know. So, you know, he gets somebody to go outside with him. When they go outside, they see these creatures. These creatures they describe as these small alien creatures. You know, they're like maybe 3 to 4 feet tall, human-like. They have yellow, glowing, large eyes, pointy ears, talons for hands, shiny gray skin. And it appeared like they were floating. So I don't know that they could see any feet. They were just kind of floating. And there was quite a few of these creatures. I mean, they said there was like between like 12 and 15 of these creatures. Wow. And they were, you know, getting on the roof and, you know, kind of attacking them. So they get their shotguns and they're shooting at these creatures, and nothing is happening. So when they would shoot at them, they would hear like the bullets were like striking a tin can, is what they described it as. So the bullets did not harm the creatures at all. And it sounded like this went on for like, you know, many, many hours when they decide, you know, we're not getting anywhere, we're going to go get the sheriff. So they go into town, they get the sheriff, and sounded like the news crew and like all kinds of people came out. By the time they get there, the creatures are gone. They did see the destruction, like where there was bullet holes in doors and, you know, stuff like that, but they could find no evidence of these creatures. There was a report that a neighbor saw like a strange glowing light over at their farm, and they just thought they were like searching for a pig that got loose or something. I guess the Air Force came the next day. And I did come across a story that I guess it was like a deathbed confession of a man that was part of a team from Fort Campbell, which was a nearby base, that
I just Googled that.
He said that he was a part of a team that retrieved wreckage from a UFO just 3 miles down the road from this farm that same night. So, you know, that makes it really, really interesting. They also do, every year they have a festival called the Kelly Little Green Men Festival, which is in August, which kind of, you know, is around the anniversary of this. But there's also another side of it. If you go to weekendweird.com, you'll find a story that they were contacted by a guy in Eastern Kentucky. So Kelly, Kentucky is more on the west side. They were contacted by a guy in Eastern Kentucky who described these same creatures, that he was being attacked by them. He thought they were coming from an old mine on his property. And if you go to the website, weekendweird.com, you can actually see photos of footprints from these creatures. They're like 3-toed footprints. So there are some pretty good photos on there. And then Greg and Dana Newkirk are the people who run this site. And they went and met with the guy and investigated and stuff. And they had a theory that maybe these creatures were coming from caves, which kind of goes back to, you know, your theory about the cave thing. The Mammoth Cave System is in Kentucky. Oh, yeah. They've mapped over 400 miles of caves in the Mammoth Cave System. So it's probably bigger than that. It is the biggest cave system in the world. And, you know, then Greg Newkirk had contacted the Sutton family. There's one daughter that he contacted and asked her, is there a cave on your property there? And it turned out there was. So, you know, the theory was, you know, could these alien creatures, you know, have maybe their spaceship crashed there, they're stuck on Earth, where did they go? Maybe they went into the cave system and that's where they were living. And that's why this guy over in Eastern Kentucky, you know, could have kind of the same story as they did. So, so we heard the story, and last year was the solar eclipse, which one of the best places to see the solar eclipse was Hopkinsville, Kentucky. And at the same time as the solar eclipse, they had this festival, the Kelly Little Green Men Days. So that's why we went down there to see the solar eclipse, to go to the festival. And we were contacted by a lady who wanted us to investigate her house. And come to find out, her house had caves on the property.
Oh, wow.
And so, you know, it all kind of just fell in place. And so we did investigate the caves and stuff. We didn't find anything, but, you know, it was a fun investigation anyhow. So very interesting story.
I did just look up those photos. I was listening, but I was also looking up those photos. Yeah, they are kind of, and they have the, it looks like night vision photos or Fleur camera on there too.
Yeah.
They are kind of strange looking little things, aren't they?
Yeah. Very strange footprints.
And then the photos that they have of it standing, it looks like it's behind a tree.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember they had a picture of the creature as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like those old, way back when, those old Martian films that had it looked like a tin hat on their head with just the visors. That's what it reminds me of, these photos do.
Yeah.
Now, I also read on here that it's on the Kentucky-West Virginia line.
Yeah, the one guy in Eastern Kentucky, yeah, was all the way on that side.
Do you know what county in Kentucky that is?
I don't off the top
of my head. Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. The reason I ask is because I have family in Kentucky that's in southeast Kentucky.
Really?
And then I have family in West Virginia that is that lives where the Hatfields and McCoy feud, right there on that Kentucky-West Virginia line. So that's why I'm like,
I almost
wonder if
think there's two articles. There's two different articles on the Week in Weird website on the Kentucky. I almost thought in one of them, you know, it kind of had a roundabout location of where this happened.
It shows the state of Kentucky, and then in red it shows the county.
Okay.
But I can't find anything where the county is. Maybe I should read. It says, for the past 6 months, I've been living in a rural home located on the border of West Virginia and Kentucky, where my family is nightly assaulted by creatures that I have come to believe are of extraterrestrial origin. So that's why I'm trying to, I guess I'll just have to figure it. Pike County.
There you go.
Pike County, Kentucky. That's right there in that area they're at.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
So you got relatives in that area?
In that area, yeah, on both sides of the border.
You're going to have to ask them if anything strange happens over there, or if they have any caves on their property to check out.
You know, way back when, my grandpa used to be a moonshiner. So I'm pretty sure there's caves around that area. I know there's some strange things. And you know how they call, in the South, they'll call Sasquatch boogers?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, my grandparents in Kentucky and my grandparents from West Virginia, my grandma used to tell me, you better get in the house before dark or the boogers will get you. And my mom still tells my kids that.
Yeah.
So it really makes me wonder what they saw or what they heard growing up.
The story,
and my mom told me
the stories they have. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I would have known about this way back when. My grandparents are all gone, but I wish I would have known about this stuff when I was younger, about the Sasquatch and stuff. Yeah. And I'm sure I could have got stories. My mom said when I was born in Georgia, and then they moved to Kentucky, and we finally settled in Indiana when I was 2. And she said when we lived in Kentucky, of course, I don't remember it. I was like 1, 2 years old. And she said that the house sat maybe 3 feet from the side of a mountain. And every night after my dad would leave for work, someone would go along the backside of the house between the mountain and the house and just knock from one end of the house to the other. And now that I'm researching this kind of stuff, it makes me wonder if it was a Sasquatch that would come out every night, knowing he would leave. It really makes me wonder.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Cool.
But now that I know they like when men leave the house, they'll come and start to bother the women some. So yeah, really makes me wonder. Really, really does. I'm going to have to talk to my cousins and see if they know anything about those goblins. And the area that they live at in West Virginia, I've talked to other people, and they've seen Bigfoot and Dogmen in that area. And my cousin says there's all kinds of crazy things down here. So
yeah, it definitely. If you hear any stories about them, let me know. I'd be interested to hear that. Okay,
I will do that. Let me get back to me. We are going to be going to the Randolph Asylum on July 14th. That's my birthday present to me. Can you tell us a little bit about your experiences there? We have been to, I know he owns the Randolph Asylum, the Hartford City Jail, and a couple other places.
The Speakeasy.
We've been to the Hartford City Jail, and we're going to go back to that one. But this will be my first visit and my team's first visit to the Randolph County Asylum. Can you tell us about some of your experiences there? And then after we go, I can get back with you and we can compare notes.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. It's a great building. It's a really awesome building. We're talking about going again this year because we really did love the building. I'd say the most activity we had was in the attic. We were conducting an experiment, which was a mirror scrying experiment. We had two people in the basement with the mirror. We had 3 people in the attic with a couple mirrors, I think. And I was by myself on the 2nd floor with the mirror. And so we all had walkies, and we all we're supposed to look in the mirror at the same time. And, sometimes, it could be open a portal to the other side or kind of just, see what you see in the mirror kind of thing. The people that were in the attic, they said that they kept seeing, they were on one end of the attic. The attic's pretty big. One end of the attic with the mirrors. They said they kept seeing things behind them. And so they ended up kind of abandoning the whole experiment and turning around, and they could see shadow figures walking on the other side of the attic. And it sounded like that they were watching this, for quite a long time, these shadow figures just kind of going back and forth and kind of, peeking their heads out and stuff like that. Meanwhile, I'm on the 2nd floor by myself, and I hear what sounds like a stampede of people come down the steps. And I'm thinking, oh, the experiment is over, because the walkies were kind of quit working. And I figured that was them coming down from the attic, and, we were done. So I pack up my stuff. I go back to our command center, and I look at the monitors, because we had some stationary cameras on everybody. I look at the monitors, and everybody's still where they're supposed to be. Nobody moved. We're still in the attic. The people in the basement were still in the basement. And I'm like, what in the world was that? It was really weird. And then after we all got back together and kind of talked about our experiences, the people in the basement said they heard the same thing. They heard like a stampede of people coming down the stairs. So that was kind of strange. I did sleep in the building. I slept in the front of the building, which is the nicer part, I would say. Yeah. Because, you get back in the creepy part of the building. So I wasn't brave, real brave to sleep back in there. But I slept in the front, and I thought, okay, this is pretty safe. It's, carpeted and looks pretty nice and stuff. And so I slept there by myself. A couple people slept in the basement. Everybody else slept out in the RV because we had the RV. So, so I slept there, and I kept hearing things all night. All our equipment was there in the same room that I was at, because we, kind of had packed it up. The walkies kept chirping, and they were off or dead, and nobody had a walkie because we were all right there. And then they kept making noise. I thought for sure that like either somebody had come into the building, or, you know, the people in the basement had come up and were like walking around, you know, and we still had a monitor, you know, with cameras going all night too. And I thought, oh, somebody's up there looking at the monitors or something. And everybody swears nobody moved basically all night. Oh, you came up and went to the bathroom. No, I didn't, you know? And so I kept hearing what sounded like, you know, people walking around all night. I heard a fire alarm go off.
Oh, wow.
In the middle of the night, which totally woke me up. I'm like, what the hell's going on? It sounded like a fire alarm going off. And I think they had a fire. There was a fire in the attic, which was kind of part of the history. So that was kind of weird. So just a lot of weird stuff happened after we went to bed too. So I would definitely sleep in the building, you know, if you're daring enough to, I guess. 'Cause, yeah, a lot of stuff happened after it was really quiet and went to bed. Like they all came.
Is it the, if it's the right place I'm thinking of, was it just a room that they had like a couch and a refrigerator and things like that?
There's a kitchen that's got the refrigerator and stuff. There's a middle room where they kind of have a long table where you can, you know, set up your monitor and put all your equipment. And then there's another room to the other side. Like the front room had like a fireplace in it. There was a fireplace there, and it was just like, yeah, it was the corner room. If you look on our website, you can go back to our Randolph County investigation, and I've got a video. I've got a video of our experiment on there, and I've got a video of me talking about sleeping in the building and everything that happened too.
Okay.
So yeah,
I'll check that out.
Definitely check that out.
Yeah, I'll check that out. I know I had went on your website and was looking at it before. And, well, that's where I was like, oh, this sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'll check that out. I'm really looking forward to this investigation. I've been wanting to get there for a while. And we tend to go in not really knowing anything. And then we compare notes with what other people have found. Mm-hmm. Or what the owners are told. Now, talking about that, how do you investigate? Do you do the same thing, or do you like to know the background?
We usually research the place and try to gather as much information as we can, like what are some of the claims, what is the history of the place, and if the owner, you know, offers to give us a tour and tell us about that, we always do that. So we do too. We usually want to know that way. I mean, I can see it. I can see either side of it, you know, going without it. But I want to know, because then that way you kind of know what questions to ask in your EVP sessions too. You kind of know which areas to maybe spend a little more time in, you know, that are maybe more active, because it's a big building too. It's a pretty big building. You could easily spend an entire weekend there. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
One thing, you know, which was kind of funny, there's a jail cell, and I assumed the jail cell would be in the basement, and it wasn't. It was on the second floor, which I thought was really weird.
That is odd.
It's an odd place for the jail cell to be. I guess maybe it was more solitary confinement or whatever, but I mean, it does look like a jail cell totally.
That's interesting.
But yeah, it's on the second floor. I just thought that was a weird place for it.
That's very, very odd.
Basement's kind of creepy too.
Basements are always creepy.
Yeah, usually. Yeah, it's a really cool building though.
While we're talking about Indiana, on your website you have that you visited the mystery of the Indiana Stonehenge, and you had a Bigfoot investigation.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what the Indiana Stonehenge is.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's in Brown County, you know, which is famous for the fall colors, you know, go down there in the fall and see the leaves change and stuff. Many, many years ago, me and my husband were down there just for that. And I had seen an article in the paper about this Stonehenge, and I'm like, I want to go there. And finally, you know, many years later, we did finally go there. The place is so hard to find. It's very hard to find. Yeah, you kind of take a, you know, back roads kind of road to get there. It's kind of by story. Indiana. There's a hotel there, hotel restaurant maybe. It's a hotel that's supposed to be haunted. So that
the
place,
Story Inn. Yep.
The Story Inn, yes. So that's famous. It's not that far from there. So you take these back roads, you know, out in the country, and the trail you have to take, it's not marked at all. I mean, literally at all. I had to, you know, dig up some, you know, directions off the internet basically, and just try and find the place. It was very hard to find, but you climb up this, it's a hill. It's called Browning Mountain is the name of the mountain, but there's no mountains in Indiana, obviously.
We just have hills.
It's just a hill, but they call it Browning Mountain. So, you know, once you find the path, which is so hard to find, then you take it up the mountain, you get up to the top, and there's these big limestone boulders up there. Like, they're not natural because they're kind of square. They're all like laying in a circle up on top of the mountain. And had they been upright, it would look like a Stonehenge, is where it gets its name from. But they're all just kind of laying there. There's many different theories of why these boulders are up there. Some people think, you know, Native Americans perform ceremonies there. People say it could be aliens. Of course, aliens are thrown into everything. Maybe it's an ancient temple. I think the most plausible theory is that maybe, you know, like early settlers had, you know, maybe tried to use it for a foundation and decided, you know, that wasn't a great place to build their house or whatever, you know, maybe something like that. Maybe they were quarried stones that were just kind of left over and just left there. I think it's probably the most plausible thing. But just for the fact that it's not easy to get to, and it's kind of a cool place. It's kind of a cool place. We did bring a millimeter and stuff to see if we got any, you know, electromagnetic fields shown up on our meters. We would get spikes every once in a while. Nothing concrete, but I mean, you are in the middle of the woods on a hill. There's no electricity anywhere, so I don't know why that would happen. But, and you know, being these stones are made of limestone. Limestone's supposed to be a good conductor of paranormal activity. So
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Now, is there any springs around that as well?
I bet there are. I don't remember really seeing any, but I bet there are there. Yeah.
I'm wondering. I wonder if there's any ley lines as well.
Right. That would definitely be something to check into if it ran across a ley line or something.
Now I have to investigate more. I'll have to go check that out sometime.
Yeah.
I know I saw that you also did the Bigfoot investigation down there. Well, recently as well in Brown County. They've had a lot of Dogmen sighting, and there's a certain trail. It's called Salt something. I don't remember the other word. Trail. Do you know anything about that trails?
I don't know if I know anything about that trail. We stayed in Morgan Monroe State Park, was it maybe? A state park. They have a cabin that you can rent there. Okay. And it is only one cabin. So you're kind of by yourself. I mean, they do have a very small, really small campground there. I was really surprised at how small it was. But those woods, that forest there is, you know, where they had Bigfoot and Dogman sightings. And so we rented this cabin, which was really reasonable, and it was a beautiful cabin, you know, off by itself in the woods, and there was a trail kind of running right next to it, so it worked out perfectly. We didn't really find anything. There's a bunch of abandoned cemeteries in that same state forest too, and we went to like 3 different ones. Step Cemetery is a famous one. That's out.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
That's supposed to be haunted, and we did go there.
Yeah, I have some friends that live in southern Indiana, and they're always investigating stuff down there. They have a lot of interesting places to investigate. It's kind of boring in northern Indiana. We don't have a lot.
I actually grew up in Crown Point, Indiana.
Oh, did you?
Where that is, yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was telling you my son went to the jail.
We investigated the old Crown Point jail?
Yep, he went with me.
Oh, okay. We've investigated there too.
That was his first official investigation. He actually saw the guard that walks upstairs in the area where they filmed the movie. He was walking through there and had a woman scream in his ear. He saw the shadow dog downstairs, and he was using the K2, and there was a kid that would communicate with him. And that was his first official investigation.
Wow, that's exciting. I hope that didn't scare him off too bad. That's a lot of activity for your first investigation.
I thought he was going to do well with it. And then we went to and here's another one you should check out, the old Kosciuszko County Jail in Warsaw. We go there at least twice a year.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so active. We were the old Kosciuszko County Jail.
How do you spell Kosciuszko?
I'll send you the link.
You send me the link, because I'll check that out. I haven't heard of that one.
The ladies of Wipers that we had on, they actually run it for the jail, and I will send you their link, and you can get a hold of them. Really great ladies. We lost Violet. Give me just a second.
I think she's back.
Oh, there she is. She's back. I'm going to send you that link, but it's really, truly, you can sit downstairs in the middle of there's 6 jail cells, and the first time I went there, you could audibly hear answers to the questions we ask.
Nice.
And you can watch the shadows walk around where the guards would walk. Society of the Supernatural, if you go on their YouTube channel, they have videos of when they were there for a weekend, and Dave was asleep in the cells, and it felt like somebody was tapping, like a guard would tap the bottom of his foot. And it's just a fabulous place. It's just something else. But I'm going to send you that link while I'm thinking about it.
Is it a big jail, or?
It's really small, and I think it closed in the 80s. And they still have where the sheriff, they still have the sheriff's house. I just sent that link to you.
Okay.
They still have where the sheriff lived. There was some tragic things that happened there. And there's a girl that still haunts there. And if you go on my team's YouTube channel, you can see us using the SLS, and you can see a man hanging there. And Clarissa actually said, she goes, you know what that looks like? She goes, it looks like when somebody was hung. And she told Evelyn this theory, and Evelyn said, that's the cell where the man committed suicide. And hung himself.
That's pretty cool.
You can see it in the video. It's really, you'll have to check that one out. And it's $100 for the first 4 people.
Oh, and
then it's $25 after. No, it's not. And you can spend hours in there. It's just that active. And there was a man that was hung outside. He was dragged out of his cell and hung outside of the jail back when. Yeah, there's a lot of history there. It's a really interesting place. But yay, Violet's back. Everything good?
Yeah, just internet. I don't know what happened.
We're talking about the government. That's why. I'm telling you. Back to your Bigfoot. Have you ever seen a Bigfoot or encountered a Sasquatch? I know you investigate them, so that's my next question. And I know Violet was asking questions earlier about Sasquatch when we were talking about it.
I've had a couple experiences. I've never seen a Bigfoot. Where we like to go is like northern Minnesota would probably be our favorite place to investigate Bigfoot. We went 1 year up there. We rented a cabin that is the only cabin on this lake, and they have like these trails that go around the lake and like different hunting blinds and stuff because people hunt out. So I don't know how many acres it is, but you're like literally the only person there.
Oh, wow.
And you're the only person who has access to this lake too. Me and my son were in a canoe and we were just kind of rowing around the lake, and we had rocks thrown at us.
Wow.
Which was, you couldn't see anybody, you know, and it was kind of unnerving, you know, just to have rocks come flying out of nowhere and land just, you know, a couple feet from the canoe. So that was kind of strange. Great place to go Bigfoot hunting, though. It is like the perfect location, and we're kind of considering going back this year too. Another experience I had was at Craig's Lake, which is in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. It's pretty remote place. Not a lot of people go there. You could potentially be the only person there. Me and my husband we didn't go there to find Bigfoot neither. We were just hiking. We were hiking around the lake, and we heard a Bigfoot howl. It was the scariest thing. It was just so loud, and just the sound behind it was so scary because you're thinking, what kind of creature made that sound? So it was really, really kind of unnerving, you know, being in the middle of the woods. You're kind of the only people around, and to hear that incredibly loud sound, and, you know, you're kind of like, do you really want to run into that creature, you know, that just made that sound? So that was kind of scary.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I know you were talking about rocks being thrown at you. It amazes me how accurate they are.
Right.
To get it within inches of feet.
It was so close. I mean, they probably literally could have hit us, but it amazes me just
how close they get.
Yes, it was very close. Just within.
They really need
a couple feet from the canoe. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard where they come within inches of someone, and it just lands right at their toes. And I'm like, how are they so accurate at that?
Yeah.
Now I have a couple questions since we started talking about that. I know you said it's very remote and you were the only ones on the lake in Minnesota. Have you heard about, I just listened to this episode on Sasquatch Chronicles just this past week. There's a gentleman that used to work for the Discovery Channel, I believe. He used to take his friends, and him would go out and they take their sons, and then they took their daughters up to a cabin in Alaska, and they had all the amenities. It was solar powered, except for they had to go to the outhouse, and they had some crazy experiences up there. They actually started jumping on the roofs, shaking the house, and they were the only ones there. Have you heard about that?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I don't remember. Oh, I'll have to look that one up and get with you. But that's an amazing story. And when you talked about how remote it was in Minnesota, that popped into my head because they got he hasn't been back since this happened. It affected him so much.
Wow.
I know there's the Michigan Dogmen, and I know the UP in Michigan. It's very remote. You said you heard your howls. You heard howls up there. Do you know what the Ohio howl is? The Ohio howler. Have you heard that?
I've heard of the Ozark howler.
It's the Ohio howls, and it kind of sounds like a siren when they howl. So was yours like a siren noise, or was it different, or was it like monkey chatter?
It was like one loud, long noise, I guess. No, it didn't sound like a siren. It didn't sound like chatter or anything. It was like this just, you know, really loud, long howl.
I'll see if I can find that real quick. The reason I asked is that Caden, my oldest, that I've talked about before, that's my little cryptid hunter. He actually goes to our uncle. He's our uncle-in-law. He's married to my mom's sister. It's 200 acres over in Ohio. And him and his family have a family cemetery there. His brother and sisters live on the property. He has a cabin there, and he goes hunting over there. He goes deer hunting. He'll go fishing in the summer. This kid's so outdoors. And he actually has a recording of a Bigfoot howl out by the lake. And I would play it, but it won't play loud enough.
Yeah,
from my phone,
probably. Okay.
To hear it, you would have to be in person to hear it, because you can catch it if you listen really close, but it sounds just like a siren going off, and you can hear him talking about it. And he says, "Did you hear that?" And you can hear my uncle answer, "Yes." And it started doing it again, and it sounded like a siren. And he says there's no cows in the area. Let me see if I can find the Ohio howl.
Yeah, that sounds like a good place to go looking for Sasquatch.
He's actually encountered them too.
Yeah.
He's actually seen them. And he's so excited. Oh, it won't let me do it. My browser's too slow. But yeah, look that up. When I looked it up on YouTube, it was the Ohio howl Bigfoot. So maybe this is it. Bigfoot howl in Ohio. Let me see if it'll play it. Okay, it's doing a commercial.
Such a simple thing.
Yeah, I hadn't realized that, or I would have had this ready to go and see if it was anything like you'd heard. I'm watching Matt Damon right now in his video. Slowly. It's just about over. But yeah, he has caught that. He has pictures of different things that he sent me, and I won't release any of it because, for one, I'm afraid it'll get stolen. Let's see. Now I got to watch the video. Why did it just do that?
Such a simple thing. Clean water at the turn of the tap.
It's playing the video, not the video, but the ad again. I'm telling you, they don't want us to hear this. Ah, here. Sasquatch Central. Maybe it'll play now. This was in Columbiana County, Ohio. Can you hear that?
I could just kind of hear a noise.
I will send you this link too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll send that link to you too. It sounds like a cow or a siren in the distance, but it's like, and when I told him that, I told him, I said, you heard the Ohio howl is exactly what you heard. So it's very prominent over there. Okay, I sent that link to you too.
Okay.
Violet, what was your questions about? You guys were talking about Sasquatch before we started when I was off taking care of the kids.
I think she was just asking if I had any experiences.
Oh, okay.
It was those two.
Violet?
I'm sorry. I missed half of it. What you asked.
You fell asleep. You guys were talking about Sasquatch earlier when I was changing Xander before the show started. Do you have questions?
No, I'd asked her if she had found anything definitive, like a footprint or like a tuft of hair or something that really solidified
Not yet.
her belief in it, or
Yeah, no footprints or hair or anything. Not yet, anyhow. Though I'm hoping.
maybe
Just a
someday.
hollow rocks thrown.
You never know when you'll see it.
And yeah, that's usually when stuff happens, when you least expect it.
Yep. You never know. Yeah, like that day they were out by the pond and all of a sudden they just heard that howl. And it happened about 6 times and he finally recorded it and sent it to me. I was so excited.
Yeah,
He called me and said, "Did you get it?" I was like, "Get what? What'd you send me?" But when I heard it, I was like, "Really?" I was so excited. In December of 2014, we talked about this a little earlier. You had went to Mexico and investigated the Mayan ruins. Do you want to tell us about that? Did you find anything, or was it just there as an archaeological expedition?
Yeah, we've been to Mexico twice. Actually, doing an investigation. We're going again this year in August. The first time we went, we actually kind of did a chupacabra hunt as well.
Oh, wow.
Chupacabras are, supposed to be seen down there. We kind of asked the locals, what they thought about the chupacabra and stuff, and they really don't believe in it. It's kind of what we learned about the chupacabra. They don't really think it exists. I don't know, if that's more of a story or a legend or anything. But one of the times that we went to a Mayan ruin called Coba, and we did do some EVP sessions. Coba is so far my favorite one. You can climb to the top of the big pyramid they have there. You can climb all the way to the top, and it's very tall. It goes over the tree line. So that's really cool. But they also have some pyramids you can kind of go off on your own and kind of get away from people. And that's what we did. And we went to one of those and did an EVP session. And we did get what sounds like drums beating, I think, on the recorder. That's kind of about all we got there. But that was kind of interesting. We are going back again this year in August, like I said. And I'm planning to go to this lesser known ruin, which is not real touristy, and kind of check that out. Also, we rented a house there in that area, and the caretakers of the house live, I think, there. And so it'll be interesting to see kind of what they have to say, if they know of any locations, that only maybe the locals know about or something. So I'm hoping to maybe get some good information from them and maybe a new place to check out as well.
I think it'd be interesting to go down there. I've always wanted to visit the ruins myself.
I love Mexico. We've been down many, many times into Mexico.
Yeah, I don't like snakes, so that would be my fear because it's out in the jungle.
Yes.
So that's my big fear of why I don't want to go to Mexico. And there's spiders. And Violet, you don't like spiders, do you?
No.
No. That's where I draw the line.
Yep.
Big
See, you can handle
probably
spiders. I'll do the snakes. Yeah. We'll go with Cyndi and she can take care of us.
Oh, yeah. Totally. I'll be your guide.
You'll be our guide. I would like to go. I'd like to visit somewhere like that. In April, I saw that I was looking at your future events. Mm-hmm. I saw that you are going to Poatstown Elementary School.
Oh, yes, we are.
Have you been there before?
We've never been there before. Nope. Have you guys?
I have. I went there for a NADP function. I didn't investigate it. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people that have. It's on our to-do list. Actually,
yeah.
We are trying in November to go to, I just forgot where I booked it. Oh, Bobby Mackey's.
Oh,
We're
yes.
going in November for another weekend on, it's either Poatstown or Sedumsville Rectory. I think I would do either one.
Mm-hmm.
But,
the Rectory in Cincinnati?
Yeah, Sedumsville. Yep.
We've investigated there a couple times. I didn't think you could investigate there any longer. I thought they were kind of shut down.
I had heard that too. And when I looked on their website, it showed that you can investigate again.
Oh.
And you're not allowed to do anything live. Like if you have a YouTube show, you're not allowed. You're not allowed to go live on Facebook.
Huh.
No TV shows. You have to get special permission now.
Wow.
So, and like I said, I'd heard you couldn't investigate, but when I looked on their website, it shows that you still can.
Oh, okay.
So I shot off an email.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, Poatstown Elementary, I know several people that's been there. I was just in the building. I guess it's pretty active from what I've heard.
That's what I hear.
And
yeah, it's been on our list for a few years, so we're finally getting it there.
And I have a couple more questions that go along with that. Sure. Have you heard about the fundraising efforts to help the owners keep it? Have you heard anything about that?
I have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a sad situation. That's really sad.
Yeah, I have heard about that, and they're doing you know, like the I don't know if it's a plaque, a tile, or whatever that they're going to put up. You know, if your group makes a donation, and we did do that. So I'm hoping to see our name up there when we go, actually, because I think they're supposed to have them all in by April. I think the week before we go, they're hosting some event there. And yeah, so I'm hoping our tile will be there so we can maybe take our picture around it while we're there. So yeah, we did make a donation.
That'd be really nice. Yeah, I think it's a sad situation.
Right. It kind of, it is. So I hope it works out for them. Because, you know, they seem like really
I know they're doing a couple of fundraisers. So I thought I'd see if you knew about that, and if not.
Yeah.
Have you heard, I know you're interested in cryptids as well. The NADP is based around that area. Have you heard about the Germantown werewolf?
I don't think so.
No?
No.
I can tell you all about the Germantown werewolf.
Right.
It's a very old legend. Germantown's not very far from Poatstown. When I went to the school, that's why I went down there. We did an NADP lecture, and then they actually took us out to Germantown. Mm-hmm. And as you drive there, you know the, what is it, the Black Forest in Germany? Is that the well-known forest? I think it is.
Sounds about right.
I think that's what it's called. As you're driving along the highway, you look down, and I don't know which way we're going, but I was driving along and I looked down, and it was like a valley surrounded by a forest. And it was so dark and creepy. It reminded me of, it actually looks like Germany and the Black Forest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's named very well. I'll put it that way. But the Germantown werewolf has been seen in the area for many, many years. The NADP has actually made a video about it. Mm-hmm. And they had went out. I went in the 29th or 30th of October in 2016. I went down there. And that spring and summer, they had been investigating this road. And you would go down it. We walked miles back in there, probably 2 miles. And it was so far out, I didn't have cell service. And you park by the river, and they actually found Dogman prints in the river.
Oh, cool.
And you walk over this bridge, and you go down this long dirt road. And like I said, you're out in the middle of nowhere. So they had been seeing a shadow of a wolf crossing. Their wives had seen it too. And they had been out investigating that spring, and on one side of the road, on my left would have been the woods, and on the right is the river that runs. And they had noted that there were no prints next to the woods from animals. They would always walk alongside the river. And they had found deer carcasses out there that had been ate. And Adam had found a shirt that had been torn apart. And I don't remember if he got it or if he had left it there and went back to get it. But he found a shirt shredded up. And one time they were out there and they happened to run into, I don't remember if it was a police officer or a DNR officer. And they had talked to him and they started asking questions of, is there anything out here? Is there a dogman out here? The guy shut down immediately. And within a week's time, there was not one, but 2 fences put up around this woods.
Wow.
And the night we were out there, I still say to this day, I saw eye shine. And we had walked way back in there and got to a field where the road tees, and we turned around. And there was a group ahead of us and then our group. And I was with Jody and his wife. And I don't remember who else was with us, but it was a couple other people from his team over in Ohio. And I told him, I said, something is trailing us. You can hear us walk. And it would walk, and when we would stop, it would stop too. And I said, something's trailing us. So 3 guys dropped behind us further back, and we stopped in a clearing, and they came up and they said, there is something following us. They actually heard it. And so Jody's wife says, hey, why don't you do one of your Bigfoot calls? So he did that, didn't get an answer. Then there's clippets of howls on their website that you can listen to. He played one of those and we got an answer back.
Oh.
That was the creepiest thing I'd ever heard. So it did answer that night. And one of the guys said, well, when it starts to answer, it's time to go. So we were so far back in there. And it's just, you know, and it wasn't just us, it was a public event. So there was more than just the NADP there. They had guests there too. But it's a very active area out there. So if you're out there for a weekend, you might want to check out the Germantown werewolf.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah,
if you go to North.
Interesting. I've learned new things.
Yeah, so check that out. If you go to,
I haven't heard of before, which is, you know, doesn't happen too often, but I love to learn new things.
Yeah, go to North American Dogman Project, and you can check out their video, and then check out the howls that they have, and just Google Germantown werewolf, and it'll pop all sorts of stories up.
Cool.
Yeah, but we got about 20 minutes left. Violet, do you have some questions? Are you awake? Violet?
Oh, you're talking to me?
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, the connection's spotty. I hear about half of what you guys say, so I don't know. It's probably my end.
And I was just wondering if you have any questions.
Not at the moment, but I might think one up in the next 2-3 minutes. So just go ahead.
All right. I just have some fun questions to ask at the end since we have time.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite paranormal show or someone in the paranormal community that is your favorite to watch or to listen to?
I guess currently, you know, what's currently on TV right now, Paranormal Lockdown probably would be one of my favorites. I like Nick Groff a lot. I've met him a couple times and he is very nice guy. I just kind of like how he investigates too. So Yeah, I'd say, you know, what's been on TV currently would be Paranormal Lockdown would be one of my favorites. Yeah, of course, Destination Truth. Nothing can beat that. That's my all-time favorite. I love Josh Gates.
We're still going to get you a job with him. We'll keep pushing that show and talking about him, and we'll get you a job.
I'm totally up for that.
Oops. Now, do you do private investigations as well?
Rarely anymore. Anymore, we really don't do private investigations. We have in the past. It would have to be kind of a special case, or maybe somebody we knew if we would take one on now. We're kind of trying to branch out into other things, I guess you would say. So if somebody would contact us about a haunting or something, I usually find a group in their area or my area, you know, if it happens to be here, to take the case for them.
That was my oldest.
Yeah.
That was the one, him.
Hi.
Hello.
He's the one that investigated Crown Point Jail. That heard all that stuff.
My son's a part of our group as well, and he probably started, you know, around your age.
My age?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he did.
And notice his Bears hat too.
It's Bengals.
Oh, my bad. You can tell I'm into football, right? I have kind of shied away from the private investigations as well.
Yeah.
I've had several people think they've had demons in their house lately. And
that's actually very common. we have had that as well. And, you know, kind of, you know, you tell them, I mean, we had a case that another group actually had gone in before us and told them that they had demons in their house. And it was this mom and this daughter who lived there, you know, by themselves. I mean, they really kind of scared them. And they actually gave us their footage and we listened to it. And what they think is growls was like it sounded like their stomach growling. I mean, it was really bad, really bad. So we investigated that place like twice. And we're like, no, there are no demons in your house. And that stuff I think is pretty rare. I do think it exists, but it's very rare. So I know we get contacted by people who think they're possessed by a demon, you know, and we're like, no, we don't handle stuff like that. So yeah, we're more into other things other than home investigation. So we really, really don't do many of those anymore.
yeah, I'm the same way. I'm kind of starting to stray away from it. Yeah, we actually had this guy that swears his house they were moving the couch and they were moving the floor and he would see shadows pass. And this investigation, we stretched it into half an hour, but it was over in like 5 minutes. He said he had shadows cross in front of his front window, but there was an apartment on each side of him. And there was a lamp out in front of his window. So anybody that would walk between his window and that lamp was a shadow. Then the highway was maybe, I don't know, on the other side of a football field, and you could feel the semis vibrate his floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was things like that.
Yeah.
And and his walls were so thin, he went to the bathroom and we heard him going. So I'm sure the voices he heard were from the apartment behind him or beside of him.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, a lot of it you can debunk. And a lot of times they don't want to hear that. You know, we've had cases where we're like, no, it's this, this, and this. And they're like, oh, no, it's not. You know, it's almost like they want their house to be haunted too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. He emailed me several times, and he even sent me an EVP that he recorded, and it was a scream off of a movie. You could tell it was a movie scream. And it just got to the point where we said, look, we had to nicely say, we have to ask you to leave us alone because there's nothing here.
Yeah.
And
that's the sad thing, because there are people out there that are legitimately, you know, living in a haunted house, but then you got all these other crazy people and, you know, kind of take it over. And yeah, that is kind of why people don't want to do home investigations a lot anymore.
Yeah. A friend of mine, she's going to be on the show soon. She actually was handed a case a while back, and she said that on the way there, it was supposed to have been an hour trip from South Bend to, I don't remember where it was at, but it wasn't very far, maybe an hour at the most. And it took them 4 hours to get there because when they looked at their GPS on both their phones, it was spinning. And there was actually something in that house that did not want them there.
Wow.
But I think 9 times out of 10, it's not demonic, but it's just evil or just wants to be mean.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Right. You know, if you're not a nice person in real life, your characteristics kind of go with you when you die, you know. You're probably not going to be a nice person when you're dead neither.
I agree 110% with that. And that's another thing, is that sometimes people don't understand when you passed over, you're still the same person.
Right.
So what's your thoughts, Violet? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think that carries over when you die. Like if you were bad, then you're going to be bad in death. And what's scary about it is I think you can get worse because you have all the time in the world after you die to develop and grow into something terrible. I've seen it in different locations before. So that's what my belief is.
So you're heading in a different direction. Are you going to be doing any para fairs or any conferences this year where people can actually come meet you or ask questions or anything? Or are you going to give any public information lectures or anything like that?
I don't think so. We really haven't done anything like that other than attending, you know, conferences. We've never actually, you know, had our own booth or anything like that.
Okay.
So not right now, I don't think.
I know sometimes I'll give a presentation on cryptids, and we'll have a table here or there. Another question is, are you looking for any team members? Like right now, the reason I ask this is because we have our membership drives for my team in South Bend and Fort Wayne, since we have 2 chapters. Are you looking for any new team members in the Chicago area?
I wouldn't say we're actively looking for anybody, but we are based in the kind of southwest Chicago suburbs. You can apply on our website. If you go to our crew page, kind of towards the bottom, there's a link you can click on our application. And if the right person came along, you know, we definitely would be interested in that. You know, I wouldn't say we're advertising, you know, that we're looking for anybody or anything, but, you know, yeah, if somebody was interested, they could apply, and we would definitely take a look at that. We really could use another cameraman. The title for our cameraman is Extreme Cameraman, because we do so many kind of crazy adventures, and you could be filming while, you know, crawling through a cave or hiking up a mountain or something. You know, so if anybody was interested in that, I would, you know, definitely shoot us a message or fill out the application online. Our website's www.huntersoftheunknown.com.
Lately, you know, everybody, like, I like working with other teams, and I contacted you and I thought, well, we can do a show together. You know, I like other people's perspectives on things. Lately, and it just happened again last week, and it happened this week. People say para unity, they want to work together, they want to do this. I'm not going to name it from last week, but yesterday I was on a Facebook page, and it's a newer page, and I'm not going to single the page out, but I was told, hey, you can promote any events you want on here. You can promote your team, you can promote your events, you can promote your YouTube channel, you can promote yourself, you know, just to unify the community, let people know what's out there. Then yesterday I posted about the YouTube channel that you were going to be on. I posted about an upcoming event we have in April, and I posted about my team. None of these were approved. The page owner is she's the founder of Moonlit Paranormal.
Okay.
Her name is Joy. I saw her videos for her own team start popping up on the feed for this page, and I went to ask her. I asked her, I tried to post 3 things yesterday. I said, you told us at first we could. I said, why has this not been approved? Now nobody can post on this page except her. I said, well, do you think it's fair to your members on here that you can promote yourself, but you can't promote others? I said, do you think that's fair? And she came back and told me, she said, yes, the reason is because it's my page and I can do what I want. But yet people talk about para-unity and they like to work together and they want to work together. But then someone like this turns around and says, it's my page, I can do what I want. I don't want to share, but I want to promote myself. What do you think about that?
Well, I think there's definitely both of those things, you know, out there in Facebook land or whatever, where people actually do, you know, do believe in para-unity, and yeah, other people are just out for themselves. We do work with other groups. We do have an investigation coming up with another group called White Owl Paranormal. We're going to the Hinsdale House with them, and which is in New York, and we're also doing a Wildwood Sanatorium with them as well. Yeah, we went to Waverly Hills with them. It's kind of how we met them. So, you know, I know my group is definitely into, you know, working with other groups and such, but yeah, some do, some don't, I guess. You know, she must have changed her mind about her page.
I guess. But Violet, what do you think about the whole situation?
I haven't run into many people who kind of believe the para-unity thing, to a lot of people who are the opposite. Even in my experiences when we've been like places and we've had other teams jump on us, go, hey, you're on our turf. Like if we do a specific site that I guess they feel that they're entitled to all their own. And there's just been a few other cases around like my area where I've come across that, where people kind of imply that certain locations are their territory or this and that, and I just think it's bullshit, to be honest.
Yeah.
That way. This isn't a big multi-million-dollar for all of us. Just some of us get like it shows while the rest of us are doing it for fun or for this and that, and there's a lot of people out there who just have everybody else.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see more community out there, but unfortunate people.
I agree. I know I had talked to, hold on a second, I got a cough. Sorry about that. I know I had talked to Clarissa about it, and she had left this page earlier because she said this lady seemed like a dictator and it had to be her way or no way, and seemed like she always yelled at people. But she had left her page earlier, and I told her about it, and she said she didn't seem surprised. But like I said, I don't mind working with other teams. I think more people need to work together. And some of my investigations, I open up to the public. Like the one in Ohio that we're going to. I have 5 people right now that I have, wait, 2, 3, 4 people that I have never met going with us. And it happens to be all women going. And I don't mind that.
Oh, I like that.
I like that too.
I like that. We only have 1 other woman on our team. I wish we had more. Yeah.
It can get kind of catty at times though.
Oh, I guess we've been mostly men most of the time, so I haven't had to experience that too much.
Yeah. But well, ladies, we have about 5 minutes left. Violet, I know you were cutting in and out. Do you have questions or anything you'd like to talk about?
You probably use all the standard equipment, but I've seen a lot of people lately. I don't know why, but a lot of people in my feed anyway have been talking about Ouija boards. Do you think those are good to use on investigations, or is that something that should just be left alone?
I mean, my thought on Ouija boards is they are, I think, just another tool to be able to communicate with spirits, just like if you were using, a spirit box to try to communicate with them. A Ouija board is just another, tool in your arsenal to try to contact the other side. Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on Ouija boards. I can't say that we really use them very often. It's not like something like, oh, let's get out the Ouija board. But, that's kind of my thoughts on them, I guess.
I know several locations don't allow them.
Yeah, I see that quite frequently, that they don't allow Ouija boards. I mean, if the Ouija board's going to open a portal to hell, let's say, to demons, so is everything else that you use. I don't see why they think this particular board has more power than the other stuff. I really don't see the difference.
I don't have an answer to that. Do you, Violet? Any thoughts on that?
I personally don't care for them and have never touched one and never plan to. I didn't use much ago myself.
I think Ouija boards are overrated.
I see your doggy back there.
Oh yeah, I think she's wanting to get out. Probably she's been in here a little too long.
All right, Cyndi. I'm going to sign off for now. If you want to stick around for a few minutes.
Sure.
Thank you, everyone, for watching us. Thank you for coming on the show, Cyndi.
Yes, thanks so much for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Violet, maybe next week your connections will be better. I really think it's the government. They don't want us to talk.
Well, we also
we're going to
storm
turn
out.
into a conspiracy.
Oh,
do
that.
More snow?
We had snow yesterday, and we're gonna have snow again tomorrow. So it's.
Oh.
I'll send you warm weather. We had snow yesterday too. But all right. Well, thank you for tuning in. We will be back next week, and I will post on our Facebook page who our guests will be. And thank you for tuning in tonight.
Good night.
Good night.